Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to What Do You Say Anime. I am your host, Peter. On today's episode, along with my co-host and evil Lieutenant Miles, we will be breaking down the recently finished summer season. And before we jump into individual shows, I want to pass it over to my Moo Dang and get his thoughts on the season as a whole.
You're my magical girl, Pete.
Ah,
Yeah, I honestly I don't know if I could get better praise than being a Mudang and an evil lieutenant. This season was an interesting season for me. I think more so than any season that I have seen so far. It it was like mid, but not in like the new derogatory like way that things are mid. It's just like other than the first show we're going to be talking about in like one valley, I guess. I was like pretty okay with everything, and all the shows had their moments or didn't have their moments or whatever. But there's still some things that I'm up on the air about. I think that when we look back on this season for the non-sequels, right? Like there's, like Oshinoko and everything is going to exist. This is going to be like the hidden gem season. There's going to be a lot of shows that are a little niche that, in 5 years people will be able to recommend and stuff that won't be super. That's my view on
I
it.
like
How about
that.
you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This season, really outside of like you said, one show. I didn't think there was any like blockbusters, but a lot of the shows I watched, and I ended up when I was like done watching the episode, I'm like, that was really fun. Like, I'm really glad I'm watching this show. It might not be like a masterpiece, but I'm having fun, and that to me is like what matters the most. But I thought that like overall, this is probably going to be, I would guess, the weakest season of the year, but I still had a good time. I thought there was a good amount of shows that I really enjoyed. I just want to preference to everybody out there that we will not be reviewing Oshinoko season 2 because it hasn't aired when we're recording, but we've both read it. I'm fully caught up. I don't know how many episodes you're behind, but I just want to give a
Something
yeah, I just want to give a shout out. This season's been fucking incredible, like I thought it would be. It's one of the best directed anime I've ever seen. I think how they just done the Tokyo Blade stage play has just been next level shit. So I want to give a shout out to Oshinoko, but because it hasn't finished, I don't want to review it. But spoiler alert, it's probably a 10. It'll probably be in my contention for anime of the year. I think it's that good. I think it's on par with season 1. It's my favorite arc in the manga, so there's that. And I also side note to Moo Dang. I know this is Moo Dang talk real quick.
Okay, I'm down.
I wanted to start something in Discord where instead of doing the goat emoji, it was the hippo emoji,
Okay.
as in reference to Moo Dang. But then I thought people might be thinking I was calling them a hippo.
That's exactly what I thought.
So
Like that was my mind. I was like, people are going to think that you're calling them fat.
yeah, so I actually stopped that real quick. But if I ever hit you with the hippo emoji, it just means I'm calling you Moo Dang, and that means you're above goat status.
Okay.
I don't want to say hippo status. You're Moo Dang status. So want to get that out there for everybody out there who hits people with the hippo emoji. I'm not calling you fat. I'm calling you Moo Dang. Okay, Miles. Shall we do it?
Let's go.
All right, let's dive right into it. Our first show, which not many people are watching, and I don't know why. This is like a very prolific mangaka. He did Goodnight Pun Pun, which is like a cult classic. It's Dead Dead Demons. Destruction. A show where on paper, I knew I was going to love it. I didn't know I was going to fall in love with it. It was a show where so many times I said, like, what the fuck out loud. Like, from episode 6 to 16, every episode, I was on like the edge of my seat. And for somebody like me who watches so much anime, that's so hard to do. And it consistently did that through so many episodes. I think the ending is where some people fell off on like giving it like a higher rating, like going from like an 8 to a 9 or a 9 to a 10. I'd love to get your thoughts on that, but I thought it was handled pretty well. I don't think it was like the perfect ending, but I don't want to take away what the show did as a whole, which was just fully engross me in its story. Miles, what are your thoughts on Dead Dead Demons?
Yeah, no, I loved it. I just finished watching it. I sort of tried to finish the shows in order of how much I liked them, but like reverse that. So,
For sure.
but yeah, I don't. The ending I thought was good. I'm glad that it sort of took like a left turn because I was curious how they were going to do if they had like stayed in whatever, dimension they were in at that period of time, I don't know how they would have even tied anything up. I don't know what there was to tie up. Like, in episode 16, everyone fucking dies.
Yeah, Tokyo got bopped.
Yeah. And, so that's fine. Like that is what it is. The event we had been waiting for happened. And then at the end we sort of get to see the characters we like in like a happier sort of timeline that where they weren't interfered with by aliens or other knowledge or anything. And I liked that. I thought that was good. I think the main thing that I like about the show, and there's a lot of things to like, but like the main thing is Oron and Kadode's
Yes.
relationship and their characters in general. I think they are both extremely great characters. So just getting to spend any amount of time with them at all is has been great throughout this whole, the entire 17 episodes that we watched with them in it.
Yeah. Speaking of Oron, she sparked a conversation in our Discord where going into Anime of the Year, we will now have a Best Gremlin category because of how much of an absolute gremlin she was, how much of a menace she was. But like her relationship with her and Kadode was just that's what best friends are. We're like you can be yourself, you can be wacky if you're wacky, you can be touchy if you're touchy. Like they're like really good friends. They're essentially family, and just like how they showcase that was, I thought, just like incredible. And just going back to like episodes 5 or 6, where you see the first timeline of Kadode getting the alien technology, trying to use it for good, kind of fucking up and accidentally killing somebody, and then her committing suicide. And then that sparks like the next time loop that we get, where which I thought that was fascinating because like you see Oron as like this, I don't know, out of her mind, quirky girl, but like the reasons like why behind that is just it wasn't really explained. But then you see when you get this context, it's like, oh, this is what happened. This is why she's the person that she is, type of thing. And I thought that was awesome. I know you're just like a giant time loop guy, so I guess like how does this compare to like your favorite time loops with like Higurashi or like Summertime Render, stuff like that?
Yeah. Okay. So, one thing I think to note, and this is going to be so like, everyone tune in for their like pendantry like thing. So like this is like more parallel universe than time loop.
True. Yes,
Um,
you're correct.
yeah, and so like similar vibes. Big fan. Fuck with all of it. You know what I mean? So where something like Summertime Rendering is like a pure time loop, something like
Mhm.
Higurashi is like a time loop based parallel universe sort of thing. This to me was more of just a parallel universe. But I mean I liked it because we got to see, like, I always just like seeing, sort of butterfly effect type of things. What does one change? How does that affect everything that's going on, you know? And there's some interesting things where I think the episode 0 universe is actually different than the main universe that we were in. And the reason I say this is because like we saw some of our supporting characters like Makoto and stuff get vaporized, but then they were around when Kadode's father was like trying to find Oron and
Yes.
Kadode and stuff.
Yes.
So I sort of think, and I haven't like confirmed this because I just finished
It's
this,
tough
right?
because
So
like
like,
the Makoto thing is like you don't actually see him get vaporized. It's like he's like on like the edge of the vaporization. I'm assuming he did, but like it's where other people is just like they got murked. He kind of was like that. I felt like that one was kind of like I could see you
yeah.
interpret it either way.
So Makoto's friend, whose name I am forgetting what her name is, but they like both ditched their podunk town
Yep.
together.
The
Um,
college student. Yeah.
yeah,
Yep.
like we super see her die, right? And she's around.
She yes, she dies. Yeah.
But then she's there in episode 17.
See, this is why talking is good because you are bringing up stuff that I forgot,
Okay.
and now you are correct, and now I agree with what you're saying.
Okay, cool. And like again, one viewing, just finished it, haven't had all the time to digest everything that happened yet, but that was like an interesting thing to me too, is that, you'd been viewing these different things where we think like I think in the one we've been following, Oran and Kodode probably live and like are in a similar position where they're just trying to make the best out of this, post August 32nd world.
Yeah, they're not like rebel or whatever. They're not like mech fighting soldiers or whatever.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
It's interesting. Like I could always use more of it. Like I don't know if this like just encompasses the entire manga or not, or if there's more or whatever. But I think that I loved everything we got, and I also think that there's room to do more of it if you wanted. Though what I will say is the thing that really the vibe, the mood of this show of having something hanging over your head, right? Like all of the characters lived their lives, their high school and stuff with a gun to their head. Everyone was always on edge about whatever was going to happen with this mothership, whatever was going to happen with all of these issues, right? And you see it affect how they act in many different ways. And I just sort of like liked that. To me, it's sort of, whenever there's like a very large like event or something. Like to me, there was like when COVID was hitting, and then like the George Floyd stuff happened, and all of it, and it just felt like, for me at least, like the entire world was like crashing down, just like
For
around,
sure.
you
100%.
know. And it's like that sort of feeling. It, I think it encapsulates like super well that sort of general anxiety and dread that I get from like thinking that things are not going great
Yeah.
generally.
Yeah, no, for
But
sure.
still being happy and having friendships and forging ahead during that period of time.
Yeah. During I think it was our first impressions or like mid-season check-in, I compared it to like living in like Kiev in like the
Yeah.
Ukraine, where it's just like there's a war happening, but like you still have to like carry on with like your normal day life. Like you still have to go to work. Like it's crazy to think that there is a war. You are like invading, or Russia's invading you, and it's like, fuck, I gotta go clock in, otherwise I'm gonna get fired. It's like that concept is insane, and it's happening in real life, and like that's what I took away from this, where it's like these girls are in such a predicament where some people move out. Like you see Kadode mom move out to the farmland, and she, like you said before in Discord, she was right about everything. But like people do escape that, but some people just like live in the reality that they're given. And I think like that's what this was they're in a predicament where sometimes you can't escape. Sometimes you are stuck and you just live with what you got. And I thought like that was such a interesting like storytelling mechanic, along with like the sci-fi element of a giant mothership sitting above Tokyo. Like mixing those two together was just like an incredible hodgepodge of storytelling. Like that's what entranced me. I love stories that are unique and different like this, because I don't know any stories that are like this. This was such a unique and enjoyable ride, where it's like we have slice of life moments between the whole gang. We have drama moments when you see like Kiho get killed and how that affects their friendship. And then you have sci-fi moments of like alien invaders. I still think this is, I don't even know if it was on purpose, but I still think this is an allegory for immigration. Like how they view the aliens in the show as like not people, even though they speak a language, they have families, they're not aggressive. I mean, they kind of are, but you can argue that, but like they're not like, they're not shooting lasers out of the mothership at Tokyo and stuff like that. So I loved how they perceived, like when you see somebody who's different, like you see how, oh, this person's not like me. My first reaction is violence, or I'm afraid, or I'm scared. You go into fight or flight mode type of thing. And I thought they resonated that really well with like how the army, like, or like the Japan Defense Force is, where like there's one scene, I forget what episode it was, but like he has like a gun to one of the aliens, and he's like speaking to the guy, and the soldier's just like whatever, and it just like blows his head off. It's just like that's probably a thing. Like I don't know. I thought it was just like there's so many elements in the show where I don't know. It's next level shit. Like I this is like straight up my number 2 anime of the year so far. Like I thought it was fucking brilliant. I had so many enjoyable moments. A lot of people didn't talk about like the animation in the show. I thought the animation was beautiful. I think they easily could have done really cheap background art with like the metropolitan landscapes that you see a lot in anime, and they didn't. This show was so good. The OPs and the EDs were incredible. The voice acting was so great. The entire cast was just, oh my god, it was so good. Yeah, this is a 10 for me. Like easy 10. One of the most enjoyable, one of the most entranced, one of the most engulfed animes that I've ever been a part of. I should say ever, but like in the last like 5 years, I can't picture a show where like every week I was on like the edge of my seat, like what the fuck is going to happen? Because like sometimes it's nothing. Sometimes it's just they went to the beach. But then sometimes Tokyo got exploded. Like it's that level, that parallel of, but mixing all that together is what makes this show so good. Miles, your final thoughts?
Yeah, I also gave this a 10. You know, to me, it wasn't necessarily like the what the fuckness of it, though I did enjoy that aspect of it. To me, it's just like very, very like natural character writing.
Yes.
And like a very, I think it comes at characters from an angle we don't see often from anime. And that was like very refreshing for me. I just thought it was like very, like everyone felt very real and fleshed out and like people. And you know, maybe it's because like so much like there isn't like a tsundere in this. There isn't like a, you know what I mean? Like none of these characters, not that you can't have a character that's like a tsundere and also a good character. Like of course you can. But like I feel like so often it didn't ever sort of use these character tropes that are so common in anime, and instead it just made a whole bunch of people that were people on their own, and like that is its strength in my opinion.
100%.
I loved it. So this is right about, so I went through our first impressions to like see what we thought we were going to get and everything. So we both had this at a 10 in our first impressions. You said the floor was a 9. I said, whoa, floor could be lower. Though we don't need to find out because we both enjoyed it a lot.
Yes. Yeah. Just an incredible ride. Shout out to Production Plus H, a studio that I don't think has anything of, yeah, this is like their first big thing. So I'm hoping to see more of this studio because I thought how they handled everything, they did it with care, they did it with love, and I mean, I forgot where I put it in my top 100, but I think it's like 25 or something. Like I loved Dead Team, but unfortunately, Miles, not every show can be Dead. we have to go over to a show.
Hey, look, I'm going to be more positive on the show than you are, and this show is not that.
Okay, so we're talking about Alya sometimes hides her feeling in Russian. Do you want to start, or do you want me to start? Because I have some bullet points that I need to get through.
Please hit me with your bullet points. Okay. I also have bullet points.
Okay, sounds good.
But so, I have to save them for later.
Okay, so this was a show that was pretty divisive, and by divisive I mean I didn't like it. Everybody else liked it in our Discord. So if you want to have conversations about Alya or other shows, you should join our Discord. So I wrote up something, and I also got some bullet points that I need to get through. So first, my write-up. Okay. What I think drives me away from Alya more than anything is what the attempt of the show was trying to be, where it's like 5 things all at once. One side is the Ayanokoji Classroom of the Elite 4D chess thing, trying to help Alya secure a future student council presidency. And on the other side, it's some dark past royal family shit, where there's some ever-growing takeover of the throne thing within their family. On top of that, it's trying to be a rom-com while still throwing out incesty jokes, with the sister trying to liven up the atmosphere of the show. I think Alya lacks personality outside of her mumbling things in Russian, which I do think is cute, but I don't think it does or drives anything to drive the plot. So kind of like what I compare this to was like Love is War, where they have the dynamic of them both liking each other, but sort of playing a game with each other. I didn't get like that feeling with Alya and the main dude. I'm still calling him Kuze because it's shorter than his actual first name. Like I think that's what I was looking for, where it was like a game that those two were playing. and I got more from one side than the other. Okay, let's see what else I get. So like in his attempt, the Kuze to like be this like humble mastermind, I thought it was more of like he was trying to be like a Chinibyo version of Light more than anything.
Like Light Yagami,
Yeah, from Death Note.
the show that you haven't seen.
I haven't seen, but I've seen the live action movie. I've
Yeah.
seen.
Okay. Good. Okay.
Come
Cool.
on,
Cool. Cool.
come on.
Yep.
I've
Nope,
seen what
sorry,
I've
that's my
seen.
bad.
Yeah.
That's my bad.
So I think my biggest complaint was like I think the show was trying to do so many things at once without trying to focus on like one core thing. And I think that's what really lost me. I also think that if you enjoyed the cast, you would probably like the show like no matter what. I didn't really like anybody. I didn't think anybody like really stood out outside of the sister. I thought she was fun, but I also said that she's my favorite and least favorite character in the show. So like when I have like a character like that where there's moments where I think she's brilliant and I love her gremlin side, I thought sometimes like the incesty, oh I cucked my brother jokes could get a little old and a little repetitive. So that kind of fell off for me. I think it's just like the nature of that character kind of was like hit or miss for me. And I just like couldn't relate to like or get involved with like any of the characters or even something like a show of Classroom of the Elite, which I hate with a burning passion. At least Aina Koji is fun. Like he might not be a good character, but at least he's fun. I didn't really have like fun watching this show. So again, this is normally like a show that I would really enjoy, but I just think it trying to do so many different things without focusing on like one thing really lost me, along with me not liking the cat. Miles, your thoughts?
Yeah, I think the show tried to do exactly one thing, which was be a rom com, and it did it.
It did or didn't? Sorry.
It did. It
Oh,
did
okay.
it. It did the thing. Like I think the mastermind stuff is part of the rom comminess of it, like the general comedy, because it's stupid.
It
Like
is, yes.
yeah, and it's like intentionally stupid. I oh god, I paid so much attention to the show for this stupid conversation. So like
And I
like
didn't.
when
Well, I guess I should say that. I wrote the fucking
yeah.
yeah.
So like when he and his sister are like arguing and stuff, like you'll have periods of time where like the soundtrack will go all like zany and everything because it's dumb.
Mhm.
Like there's a few things that I generally liked about this show. I liked. Oh yeah, you said she like lacked personality, and I don't necessarily think that is true. I think she has a very reserved personality. I think that she holds herself seriously. I think that she is sort of stoic and she doesn't like fun, you know?
I can see why
But
you like her.
yeah, but that's like a personality trait. Part of the issue that she's having in her trying to become student council president or whatever is that she's not very extroverted, she's not very outgoing, and she doesn't connect with people super easily, but she does have, a passion for hard work and ideas and everything like that. So that's where our main character comes in to sort of help her along with her plan, to help sort of buff out the flaws that she has because he thinks that she's a good candidate, for this
Yep.
role. Whereas his sister and him in the past just sort of like doing this because it's fun to win, you know? And there'll be like a stark comparison to this in another show. And I just like how this show handled it so much more, where you see these characters, Alya, like sort of grow a bit through this arc and like sort of, become a bit of a she learns over time. Like it starts with him having to do all of the work for her
See,
with like
okay. Sorry, I'll let you
the
finish. My bad.
yeah, with like the baseball stuff, right? Like he like completely has to take over that. But by the end, she can like give her own speech. She does her own thing. She's listening to his advice, of course, but she's able to like execute upon that. And it's like her platform she's running on. So, she learns how to do that over the course of the show, which I thought was good. And we're getting a season 2.
We are. Yep.
So, we'll get to see the actual race, so
See,
to speak.
I would disagree that she grew as like a character. And one specific scene that stood out to me was at the end, I believe it was episode 11 or 12, where
Yeah.
they're like bowing and the whole place is clapping and Kuze says to her, "They're clapping for you," which they're not. There was like the scene where like she did her speech and like it was like mild reaction. Kuze gave his speech, much bigger reaction. and then they finish and then they close, and then he says, they're clapping for you. They worked. That's the thing. Like, I think that there was a few moments in particular that I can't remember off the top of my head that I think that if you wanted Alya to grow as a character, to take the reins, to take the helm, to do something, she could have. I would have really liked to see her like being the overpowering force in the last election scene, rather than Kuze coming to her aid and giving his speech to like solidify them as the winners. And I think like that's where I really lost the show, because I don't think Alya, she didn't, I really do feel like she didn't do anything in the show. Like,
So
in the beginning episode, she was fan service. Like, we got to see her, we got to see the scene where like he was like licking her toes and we saw her underpants, and then they went on a date and she was changing and we saw her bra and undies. Like,
yeah.
and then
They mostly drop it.
they
except
did
for
drop it
episode
for
11.
sure. But like, I didn't feel
Um,
like when you do drop that and then you have the character be herself, I didn't get the development that I was looking for in her. And
So
yes,
when
it's a
she-
rom-com or whatever, and I'm not looking for like anything crazy, but like, I do think the last scene could have solidified some growth, and I didn't get it.
So when she like orchestrates the former rivals to come out and be on her side and endorse her, that's not a thing. You
Well,
don't count that.
Okay, she did stuff. I'm not saying that she didn't do anything, but I think it was like the last moment. It's the scene that I'm
You just said
what?
that she didn't do anything.
Well,
That
okay,
was-
it's a blank statement. Like,
because he's not, the claps are when they join forces, when she gets the other people to come out. That's when they get the like uproarious applause.
oh, see, I took it as it was based off Kuze doing the things that he did, and that's what I took away from it.
And I don't know. I think people liked Alya's speech, and then I think Kuze came out and sort of, because like we're gonna have more of this, right? Like,
Yeah.
I sort of view this as half an arc, and so I think you
I can
can
see
see
that.
progress getting made, and I would expect, and who the hell knows, by the end of this, right, when she's not murmuring in Russian anymore, but she's proudly speaking in Russian, that she'll have sort of come out there. But I think that like you basically saw her go from unable to confront anyone like at all in any way and assert herself, because she just sort of expects people to
Mhm.
do the right thing and like didn't know how to do that sort of interaction, to able to give the speech by herself, able to organize some stuff. And Kuze's helping her. I agree with that. But like, that's also his job as a running
100%.
mate. Yeah. Like,
I guess
like
I was
she
looking like,
picked him for a reason.
yeah, to me, it's like Kuze should have been the president. The whole, like, he's way more qualified. Like, I was looking for a moment for Alya and specifically to like solidify herself as the president, and I didn't get that. And there's a bunch of things like the hypnosis episode. I thought that was fucking terrible.
Well,
Like,
yeah, that I'm not gonna.
that's just like
pretend
a pure
it was-
fan service episode that like didn't do anything. And then like, it's my problems with Alya, but I think also like not enjoying the cast. Like, straight up, like, if I'm not having fun with a show like this, like, it doesn't matter
Yeah.
how good the writing is, blah 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 blah. If like I can't find any character fun, I'm not going to enjoy it. And like, yes, is it not fair? Is it like not fair for me to compare this to Love Is War? Probably not. But like, that's what I was comparing this show to, and I just thought it was like such a bad version of like this style of rom-com school setting, power dynamic couple not couple thing that they have going on, and it just lost me. Like, it's just like the whole time I was like, I'd rather just be rewatching Love Is War.
I would rather rewatch Love Is War than watch any of the shows we're going to talk about from here on out.
Same.
Okay.
Well, actually, maybe that's not true, because I like Love Is War better than all these shows, but like, I don't know, it's fun watching new shit. So
Yeah.
I give
Yeah,
the show
fair.
I give the show a 5. I don't think it did anything groundbreaking to like raise its score. I didn't find the cast fun. I didn't like Alya's growth. Season 2 could definitely fix some of the problems I have, especially with what I think having like 5 or 6 different things going on at once. I think if they resolve some of that and focus on something more focal pointy, I think I could like this a lot more. So, Miles, what's your score? Oh, and you can give us our predictions
Yeah.
that we had.
So you had this at a 6 to 8. with 6 being your floor, so it disappointed you. I had this at an 8. So I mean, I think this is probably an 8, I guess, to counteract, Pete's thing. I think the cast is very fun. I think it's relatively grounded. I think it does some things relatively unique to most of the shows we see in this sort of vein. I think, as we get more characters, like, or more time, like, learning what's up with Alya's sister and all of that is fun. I
Mhm.
think that Kuze having like a gremlin little sister who's like an evil mastermind kind of reminds me of like a lot of like Nickelodeon and Disney Channel
Oh, for sure.
um
Yeah.
live action sort of stuff that so like I think it like hits me with like nostalgia in that, with like Megan from Drake and Josh having a fucking secret layer or whatever. There is a little bit of fan service. It mostly died down, though it is not absent from the rest of it. We had no other 3-minute long foot scenes. So, I'm going to keep this at an 8. It's probably like a lower 8, could be a 7 upon reflection, but I did have a good time with it, and I'm excited to see where it goes because I think it could be good, but it could also suck. So who knows?
The milestone. It can either be good
Yeah,
or bad.
it'll either be good or bad.
Awesome. Okay. Moving on to a show where I think it's like the polar opposite. Too many losing heroines. Where I love the cast so much. Where it's one of these things where like I don't care what they were doing. I was having so much fun with everything going on in the show that I loved it. It was like the number one show that I watched on Saturdays. I had an absolute blast. We have our calorie gremlin Anna. We got Chica, the quiet girl, but I thought her character was just great. I loved her story with her rejection, and then Lemon, which I think is our Discord's best girl. I guess we can get our opinion. I'm an Anna girl. I really like their calorie queen. She was a lot of fun. And just going through the motions of getting rejected in high school is something that we really don't see in anime. I know the bar is low as shit, but like, hold on. But like seeing it 3 times and seeing how it plays out, like whether it was realistic or not, or maybe it's a little exaggerated, I thought it was still really fun. I guess, and just how the girls came together as like a friend group with like the journalism club that they had together, and just the things that they did. I thought it was just like really heartwarming and really fun and just a great time. Miles, you can go ahead and shit on the show if you like.
So I have to. I was wrong about this show. When we first previewed the show, I thought I would hate the main character.
Me too. Yes.
Yeah. And that's because he looks like a fucking loser. And so I thought he would be an awkward dork, nothing character. Then when we did our first impressions, I said I nothing to the guy. I said, I don't have any feelings about it. I hate him, but for a different reason.
Ooh, let's hear it.
I don't hate him because he's an awkward loser. I hate him because he's an awful human. He's a
Oh,
bad person.
he's bad. Yeah.
he is awful, and no one ever holds him accountable for it, and it is absurd. But beyond that, the rest of our cast are terrible people too. Lemon is a fucking awful person. Why does no one care about this? What I don't know. So I don't
with
like
her
the show.
boyfriend or whatever.
I think the show is bad.
Okay.
And everyone likes the show, and that's great. There are a few things about the show that I fucking hate it.
That's great. You're wrong, and here's why.
So when Lemon is going through little Lemon art, first off, Lemon, okay, you thought Alya had a lot of fan service, nothing compared to Lemon. There is a fucking scene where they are showering and half of the screen is just Lemon's naked body. Lemon is constantly half naked for no reason, or all the way naked for no reason. Like the Halloween episode.
Yep.
There's so many naked lemons. Anyways, so she's, in love with this dude or whatever. But he's in love with Peyton Manning.
Takagi, yeah.
Yeah. Well, she has the forehead.
Old 5 head, yep.
Yeah. So, she's like, I'm sad. Fair enough, Lemon. Then, she accidentally talks about how she likes him. And then he like chases after her. And then they talk about their feelings. And then she's like, can we just pretend we're dating for one day? And then they walk home holding hands and stuff. Like, I'm sorry, 5-head girl, break up with that man. And also, Lemon, what the fuck are you doing, you psychopath?
Did they say like either you're like a home wrecker or something else? It's like she's a home
That's what
wrecker.
Anna says. There's
Yeah.
childhood friends and home
Yeah.
wreckers.
And she's both.
Yeah, she's both. The rare both. To me, there was like so much focus on the feelings of the girls that were rejected that it like bended reality in a unnatural way in order to give them like emotional moments. When really what happens when you get dumped is you get dumped and it's not even get dumped. It's you just get rejected and you go, oh, that's a bummer. Then you're sad about it for a while and then you get over it. We saw none of these girls get over it, by the way, by the end of the series.
I think you could argue one of them.
Who?
I think Chica, you could argue that like she had like her going away moment at like episode, was it like 11, where like, you know, they're done with the journalism club and then they were leaving. And so she had like her goodbye with the student club, the president guy.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe. I mean, that's how I took it. I mean, I see your point. Like, I get it. Like, I 100% get it.
And then Chica. Poor Chica. Okay. Chica is the new president of the literature club. And she's shy. She has a hard time talking. Kind of. Yes.
No, at the end it's
oh no, I know.
Oh, okay.
I know.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay. Good.
Yeah. Because this guy, this fucking scumbag, is like, oh, I can't watch someone struggle at all. I guess instead of just trying to help her in any way I can, I'll just come in and be like, I'm actually the president. Here's the thing. You fucking suck, Chica.
Yep.
And then Chica's all sad about it. But then later she's like, you know what? It's fine you took that from me. It's great. And everyone else is like, it's good you did that, bud. And everyone's like, you're the president now. No, all of you should not be friends with this guy anymore. This guy fucking sucks. He's sucked since the beginning. Like when he was like, oh, I'm not friends with Anna or whatever, to like, but like let Anna make her own fucking decisions about who she's friends with. I don't know. I just like, this guy sucks. Why does anyone hang out with this guy? He's just a jackass all the time.
Because they suck, Miles. And a lot of times people who suck.
Chica sucks.
No, Chica's great, but most of the time people who suck hang out with people who also suck.
And I don't think Anna sucks. Like Anna's like kind of bitter about her childhood friend dating someone else, but she's not like a bad person.
No.
I think he's a bad person.
I think I think in the context of the show, is he a bad person? Probably. But like, I also think he's just like a dumb high school kid. And I think you can chalk it up to that, where he's in situations that he's never been in before and he's making the mistakes. So you know what it reminds me of?
No.
Yeah.
Maybe that first one, the thing where he just becomes like he usurps, does a coup.
Yeah, that was weird.
I was so mad.
Yeah.
I was so mad because like you're teaching poor little Chica that you can never fail. If you fail once, it's over.
Yeah.
I don't know. I was heated.
See, I think that was one of those things where like there are people who would like interrupt that type of situation in the moment. It reminds me of Hachiman from Origairu, where like there's that love confession scene in like in season 1, and like he jumps in and he's just like, actually, I want to, like, you should date me. And then she's like, actually, I don't want to see anybody. So that way, like, the guy doesn't get rejected. Like, it reminds me of that, where like somebody is too afraid to see it happen in real life and have them make that mistake, that they would just put the blame on themselves. So with that being said, in the moment, I think what he did was absolutely wrong, but I don't think it's like an irredeemable moment where he can't learn from that. Now, if he doesn't learn from that and like going forward, then that's a huge problem. But I think in the
why does he get to be president?
I actually, I really don't know. Like he like overwhelms Chica. She has to leave. He like signs his name on a piece of paper and it's like, that's it. Like, you're president now because she left.
Yeah. This is my thing about it, right? Like,
let's hear it.
Like, is it just watching an episode of The Office where it's so awkward that you need to like pause it, and that's what he did in that moment? Sure.
Yes.
Is it a douche move? Yes.
Yes.
The part that bothers me is that he gets to be president. He gets to do the thing. And, you know, some people could be, oh, like Chica didn't want to do. Chica is crying and saying that it means the world to her to do this, that it was important for her to do this. Why don't you just help her? Why don't you suggest that, you know, you could like say the report, but she could write them up and be the president or whatever, and like talk to that lady about her social anxiety. Get like I don't know, like the main character of Alya did, how he helped Alya and slowly took off the training wheels, like not a psychopath. You know who the fucking classroom of the elite guy is? This guy. And we just don't fucking know it because he looks like a dweeb. It's his armor.
He does look like a dweeb.
Yeah, people look at him and think this guy isn't a sociopath, but he is.
I agree with everything you're saying. The only difference is I don't care. I thought the show, I just thought it was like really fun, like straight up. Like I had a great time watching this. I thought the cast was really fun. I had a good time. The only weird character that I really think that like really stuck out to me was the nurse.
Then okay, but what about also the zombie girl?
She was weird. Yeah, it's whatever. It's an anime thing. Like I can get over that. But like the nurse is always.
Oh no, the sister said a joke about her brother getting cooked.
Yeah,
oh, I can deal with the zombie girl. They're both anime things, Pete.
Yeah, guess what? One of them I don't like more than the other. So checkmate, Miles. Suck my dick. I don't like incest shit. My bad. But
it's like very like dude, fucking D- incest. I don't like incest shit.
Sorry, incest approver Miles. My bad. I didn't realize this is the Orimo episode.
Trent, cut this for spoilers. What's your Oshi Ko manga score, Pete?
It is a 9.
Uh-huh.
I dropped it 1 point because of it.
1 point.
1 point. Because the rest of this shit's been gas.
Fucking coward.
Fuck it. Okay, let's get back to. You don't have to cut that, Trent. But the Alya okay, not the Alya shit. God damn it, Miles. Okay, so the heroine shit, I gotta say this with the nurse. It was just like her friend is the other teacher, and all she talks about is how whenever the other teacher gets like a date or a boyfriend, she just steals them and fucks them. Like I was like, why are you like she's the psychopath? Like, why are you still friends with this lady? She fucks all of your boyfriends.
Because the other teacher has no friends. That's her bit.
That's true.
It's that she's so lonely. I don't know.
Yeah.
You know how? Yeah, I don't know. I guess like if you don't have any issues with all of the gratuitous fan service and how there aren't really character arcs and how everyone's
I feel like Alya had more fan service in this show.
It didn't.
I think it did.
Literally, the most egregious fan service I've almost ever seen is the lemon shower scene. It was half of the camera.
I'm gonna keep you the bean. I don't remember.
I will get a screen grab.
You do not have
right
to do that.
now.
How about we just get to our final scores? I like the show a lot. I had a lot of fun. I thought the cast was great. The things that Miles brought up, I agree with. I'm giving it a 9. I loved it.
Yeah, I gave this a 5. It's because when you go to it, it says it's average. And the show is bad, but it's pretty.
It is pretty.
So I bumped it up a point.
Hell yeah.
So it's a 5. I don't know.
So we just literally flipped our Alya scores. No, I give this a 9.
You give a 9, yeah. You know, people seem to like this one. So I guess I'm just wrong, but I don't know. I asked a lot of my not weeb friends like what you would do in these scenarios, and they said break up with these people.
Yeah, 100%.
So like yeah. Okay,
but it's like played for entertainment, and I was entertained. So that's all I'm gonna say. I'm gonna put it out there. I was very entertained by it.
Okay, you know what? At the end of the day, that's what matters.
Love it. Okay. 5 for Miles, 9 for me. Moving on to another show. I don't think we're gonna hate each other on this one. Pseudo Harem or GG Harem. I fucking love this show. Rin, her voice actress, Sayori Hayami. I think it's Your Forger. Just killed it. Yukino. Is she? Yeah, she is Your Forger. All right, sick. The absolute star of the show. Like with her on screen, with her different bits that she was doing. I loved like hearing the voice actress like switch up her personality to cover these roles like Rin was doing in the show. Along with them just being like a really fun high school into college couple. I thought like the transition worked out really well. I thought it was smooth. The bits that they had I thought were fun. I liked when they had like her parents were gone. They were gonna watch like New Year's fireworks. Rin makes the move because the dude's he's scared, but Rin is the lead actress and she takes the role of that. She takes the role of alpha, while IG is the beta cuck, and she just kills it. She was the absolute star. One of my favorite, like, best girls of the year. I thought she was incredible. Miles, your thoughts on Pseudo Harem?
Yeah, I enjoyed the show. We had this discussion in the first impressions. I kind of wish this was like a short. I don't get like the same dopamine hit from things as you do, but I did enjoy it. I just thought that sometimes, especially towards like the middle of the show, when because like you sort of have a little plot introduction at the beginning, and at the end you have like them finalizing stuff and like getting together and all of that. But like in the middle, it's just the bits, and the bits are great, but I don't necessarily know if I need 24 minutes of
Sure,
bits.
I get that.
Um, though, I mean, I think the main cast is great. The two mains, Rin is wonderful. I had talked about how it would have been cool to like maybe have him like one of the personalities or something, but we ended up sort of getting like the flip of that, where like Ren gets jealous, like that he's into her, and like doesn't do the personality things like anymore or whatever, because she like put so much effort into them and stuff. So I thought that was fun. That was a neat little subversion of what I was expecting, and I think it worked well. I just saw a thread on Mal that was like, "Do you think we'll get a season two?" And it's like 0% chance.
0%. They got
Um,
married at the end. Like,
yeah, that's more or less it. Um, but I thought it was just like a really good story. I really liked it. Low stakes, just pure, you know, dopamine, cute, high school college relationship stuff. I think it progressed at a pretty good speed. They did the sort of like, oh, we like each other thing. Oh, now we know we like each other and we're dating and now we're together. An appropriate amount for me. I Were you weird on that? Because I know you had said that maybe you wouldn't want them to get together or whatever.
well, I guess I was more thinking along the lines where they said that this was the what's it called? The fucking subplot was romance. So it's like I didn't think they would
Yeah,
get
that's a
together.
lie. It's
Yeah.
just a lie.
It's 100% a lie. So like I was thinking like maybe the
No,
last
they got rid of
episode.
it.
Okay.
They did that, and now they have love status quo,
I don't know what the fuck
which
that
is a
means.
new. It's new.
Is it
I
whether
think it
shows
might have.
are
I think it replaced.
also it's more along the lines of like is it like teasing or something? Because like they have Takagi, they have
Yeah,
Love
I
is
think
War.
it's like romantic subtext, but they changed it for some
Okay, fuck
reason.
it. It's a romance, like straight up.
Okay,
I
yeah,
guess
yeah,
I was expecting it. It's just one of those things where like when you think something's gonna happen and then it doesn't, it's like, oh, that's cool. Like I thought maybe, the last scene of episode 12, they hold hands. But it's like, no, they got together at like episode
yeah.
9. Like that was cool. Like I like that. Like I had a lot of fun like developing them, doing their bits, and then towards the end, actually having a relationship and then having like a fun little married thing. Like this was everything that I wanted in like this style of show. I think a short would also work. I wouldn't have an issue with this being 12 minutes. I think there's definitely stuff you could have cut out and it would probably be the exact same show. But I enjoyed the two on screen, and I'm glad that it was a full length episode. What was our like predictions for our scores?
Let me tell you. You were 8 to 9. I was 7 to 8.
Okay, and I give this a 9. I really enjoyed the show. I really enjoyed Rin. The romance was like I thought like low stakes, really fun. How they handled it was great. I love the payoff at the end with them getting married, and it was just a really fun type of show. It reminded me a lot of Suri Zuri's Children, where it's just like a fun romance. Like they just have fun and do school shit. Like that's what I wanted, and that's what I got.
Yeah, so I gave this an 8. So we were both at the upper ends of our ranges. Um, I like this. I liked what we got. I'm glad that they like started dating and everything. If they had not, I probably would have lowered it to like a 7, because they should have, but they did. So it's all good. I think that this is probably my favorite of like the rom-com shows that we got this year or this season. So like this out of like this Alya Makeine or whatever.
Yeah, it's like
It
yeah, I like this more than like Dangers in My Heart. I don't know if you Sign of Affection's not a rom com. I'm trying to think of some other romance from this year, but like yeah, I mean I think it's up there with like it's different than Sign of Affection, but I think like what they were trying to do and how they handled it were like I give them both
Yeah,
nines. Yeah.
yeah. This is definitely different than Sign of Affection. I gave both of them 8s. I think Sign of Affection does like some things better and like takes more risks, and like
Mhm.
sometimes those risks fell a little flat for me. But like I do appreciate the trying to be a bit bolder,
Yeah.
sort of thing. What's his name is too hot. It's just I can't deal
Oh,
with it. He's like,
Itsumi?
yeah,
Yeah.
He's the sun. You can't stare at him.
Yeah, he's really hot.
for
You should
too
wait
long or you'll
later
go
when
blind.
he dyes his hair. Ooh. Ooh, girl.
Yeah, that's everyone in the show is
This is-
just really hot. Even
yeah.
the jackass guy, it's like, why is he so Oshi, right?
Oshi,
it's like,
you
why is
fucking
he
piece
so
of
hot?
shit. Well, it's still fuck
Stupid-
Oshi season all day,
Stupid,
every day.
sexy Oshi.
All day, every day. Okay, so 8 from Miles, 9 from me. I'm gonna touch on a show real quick that Miles didn't watch, that I finished up, that I think is just like an underrated gem. Not many people are watching it. Is Yatagarasu, The Raven Does Not Choose Its Master. It reminds me a lot of Link Click, like straight up, where it's building up this incredible story where there's political intrigue and, you know, murders behind the scene and who's going to take the crown and stuff like that. It's like Game of Thrones, but like I say this in Link Click because Link Click like builds up a lot to like one huge climactic moment. Yatagarasu, I guess this is a 2 core. I had 2 just like insane moments this year. Episode 13 and then like episode 19 into episode 20 was just absolutely nuts. Do you care if I spoil you, Miles, since you haven't seen it?
How much of a spoiler would you
It's massive. Okay. How he did the wife thing in episode 13 with finding out like the behind the scene with like Asabi and like what she did with the things that she did and like the girl thinking that she was pregnant but she's not, just so she could confess, just like, oh, it's so good. And then Samamo's mom like trying to kill the prince because she got caught because she was a drug mule. Not mule, but like she's like this drug lord for the monkeys. It's like, what is happening in this show? It was so good. The build up and then the payoffs for everything was just like top tier. This is like a super high 9. I thought this was just so good. Oh my god. If you haven't seen Yatagarasu, go watch it. It's just, oh my god, so good. I wish I could talk more since Miles didn't see it, but it is what it is. So we'll move on to our next show.
How many times did you say blew my mind? Because you kept going,
bro. It's I remember when I watched Link Click and like the climax of like season 1 is be like, holy fuck. And then we get the end of season 2 and I'm like, holy fuck. That was me in episode 13 and episode 19 of the show. It's just like, it does such a good job of building it up and then paying it off. And guess what, Miles? It blows my fucking mind.
good. I'm gonna have to watch it at some point. After I finish my incredible Shark Tank backlog.
Okay. Oh, yeah, same. I've actually been diving through it. I got through Bugle Call, that's what it's called. And then I've got through part of the Black Torch manga, which I don't know why Kat likes it so much. That manga is fucking ass.
I am current with the Rick and Morty anime.
Fuck yeah, man. I heard it's great.
You know what? I've seen worse things.
I like Rick and Morty, so whatever. Okay, let's move on to a show probably on nobody's radar coming into it, and episode 1 caught us off guard by like its incredible animations. That's Wistoria, Wand and Sword. Will, you know, not being able to use magic, picks up the sword and starts beating the living shit out of everything. And it turns out he's actually the best. Like, you don't need, who needs magic when you have muscles? I think I've seen another show that's kind of like that. Can't put my finger on it. But
oh wait, Black Clover.
Black Clover. Yes, that's not what I was thinking of. I was actually thinking of Mashal, but
oh wait, were you actually not?
No, it was. Well, there's so many comparisons to like Awesome.
Yeah. Oh, I thought you were like.
I think you can pick like 3 or 4 shows. Like it's not.
Okay.
This isn't like an uncommon trope.
That's my bad. I thought you were doing like very clearly it was Mashal.
Well, I think it's very clearly like 3 things. So yeah.
Yeah. I was just trying to.
I gotcha.
You know what?
Yeah, we finish each other's
sandwiches.
There we go. Perfect. I got into the hype a lot with Wistoria. I fell off a little bit towards the end. I think
interesting.
Yeah, like, you know, episode 11, like the fight scene, like blew up Twitter. I was like, oh, this is fight of the year. This shit's so insane. And I watched episode 11. I was like, my biggest takeaway was like, this soundtrack is so good. Like that was my biggest takeaway for episode 11. And they even did the thing where it's like, if of Wand and Sword. I was like, the oh my god, what the fuck? Leonardo DiCaprio. There we go. He does the finger point beam. It was like, they said the thing. They did it. I think it's fun. Like it's, you know, it's Done by the guy who did How to Pick Up Girls in a Dungeon, which is a show that I don't really like, and it has a lot of elements of that in the show, which is some parts are good, some parts are bad. I stayed for like the beautiful animations and the fights and stuff like that. I just, like the story is just like so generic. It's like so the same. Like I know exactly what's going to happen. I thought it was like interesting that like when they did like the dungeon crawling thing, like 14 teachers died and like 0 students died. I'm like, yeah, that's how that works.
Well, they evacuated the students.
Well, some of them got stuck, bro.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's like sometimes soldiers die and civilians don't die.
True. Okay, whatever. It's a minor thing, but it's just like I did enjoy the show. Like I thoroughly enjoyed the show. I just, when you have a generic story like this, it's only going to get such a high score from me. What's your thoughts on Wistoria?
Yeah, I mean, like the story is for sure a bit generic, but I also don't find it like insanely generic. You know what I mean? Like
I don't, because I do find it extremely generic.
I guess like what about it? Because like to me, there's like a few like
Some examples, like the guy who has red hair is feisty. He does fire magic. He's really angry. The guy who has blue hair shoots ice magic. He's cold hearted. The guy who's green is an elf. He does green things. It's like, okay, I bet when the purple hair girl shows up, I know exactly what she's gonna do. I bet the yellow hair girl does lightning shit. Like it's stuff
she
like
does.
that. Where it's just like, it's like, okay, like I get it. Like I understand why you're doing it, but it's just like,
okay, so you mean like that as opposed to like the story.
well,
structure.
the Severus Snape professor is like really dark and whatever, but he actually like really loves his kids. Like, oh, okay, like I've seen that before. The best character is Kiki, the fucking familiar. Like, like I love that cat. That thing is awesome.
Yeah, I don't know. There was some stuff that I thought was interesting. Like you're definitely right that like the character design is informed by what they do.
Yes.
Like magically,
Yes,
right?
100%.
Which I don't know. I'm fine with. Like I like that.
I'm fine with
like
it too. Like I should preface this. I like this show. I just thought it was really generic, but it was fun.
So, yeah, I guess I just like I guess that is maybe generic, but like to me, I was thinking more of like story beat, like plot point sort of stuff.
Oh, see,
So
I
like,
also thought that was generic.
well, that's like I don't think it's like not generic, but like I don't know. Is it any? It is completely different genres, right? Like, is it any less generic than like I don't know anything else we watched? Like,
No, and I would say the same complaints with like let me say that like this is like battle action shonen fantasy. Like if in Black Clover, is Asa gonna win the big fight? Yes.
yeah, well, Will doesn't even win the tournament.
No, he was the best. He didn't win it, but he was the best. Like that's what it showcased. Where it's like he might not be the smartest because the elf guy's just like yoink.
Yeah, which I like.
I loved it. That was okay. That wasn't
great.
generic. That was not generic. Generic with him winning the Tournament of Champions and everybody being like, "Oh my god, Will, I want to suck your dick." And some people did want to suck his dick, but
I mean, did you see how well he did?
yeah, but like he didn't win. So like that is like a little different, but like it's still like it showcased that he's the strongest and like we've been looking down on Will this whole time. Like maybe I should put on my glasses and realize the human that he is. And it's like it was there the whole time.
Yeah, but that's gonna happen in any story.
100%,
right?
100%.
Like it's Rudy. Like
you say Rudy?
But Rudy,
Fuck the Rudy.
football player.
Oh, sorry. I thought you meant the.
Oh, yeah. No.
This is an anime podcast, my man.
Yeah, man. I don't fucking like anime.
I'm not talking about fucking what's his name, Samewise Ganji.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what the fuck anime is. But like, so the things that I'm going to say the plot points within this relatively generic plot that I enjoyed. Wingal, the elf, I really liked him. One, for just yoinking the crown. Two, I thought the idea of him being like an elite student, but only because he's like the world's shittiest elf, was a pretty interesting dynamic.
Yep.
I think that is cool, and there's a neat juxtaposition between him and Will and their love interests, where both of them are in love with someone who is like extremely powerful and like a prodigy of magic and everything. And Wignall gets sort of like turned down for it, where Elfie is like, "Come get me, Will. Like I believe in you," and she has like 77 Will plushies.
That was funny. The ED, they
Yeah,
just kept
they
adding
keep
more and more
yeah,
plushies. Yeah.
and she's also definitely his roommate.
100%.
Yeah. So I thought that was interesting.
Shout out to was it Eagle who pointed that out in our Discord?
I don't know. I think a few people did. I think like 3
Whoever
of us
pointed out in
came
the
up with it.
Discord, thank you for that. I missed that. I thought that was a great catch by you guys. I appreciate you giving me insight.
Yeah. I was a little behind on it. I came up with it, I think, semi-independently because his name
Well,
is
you're smart,
Frosty,
Miles.
like Frosty, and also
Yeah, that's what he said.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. See, I'm dumb, you're smart.
Well,
You're
there's
attractive,
Rifle
I'm
pointed
ugly.
out that it was Frosty Snowman, like Frosty Snowman.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's sort of fun.
Yep. I'm just
But
trying to
then
hype you
also,
up,
like,
my man.
what really tipped me off about it was that he really wants to fuck Will.
Oh yeah.
It's so that was the main one. You know, so I thought that was neat. I really liked Lightning Girl, as you had mentioned. Does have yellow hair. Um, the sort of like member of like a dying out family knight, like the magic knight stuff. I thought was like pretty cool. I think they've used magic in like relatively different ways. Also, the fact that like all of these elite students are complete ass in the grand scheme of things is kind of fun. I know that's just typical shonen power scaling.
100%.
But like honestly, a lot of shonen will just get there immediately. You'll see these characters, they will be the best, and then your main character will be equal to them immediately. And it's just like that's that.
Yep. Hyperbolic chamber, get in there.
Yeah. You know, that sort of thing. I also just generally liked the character dynamics. You know, Colette and Will have fun chemistry. Like they're not gonna get together.
Nope.
So like Colette is fucked, but or
Unless
she's not.
Yeah. Or turns into a
Yeah.
harem, who knows?
Yeah, maybe. I can't see Will heading up a harem. I just can't.
Well, he gets a dark side arc where he turns evil.
That'd be fun.
That would be fun.
Yeah. I also just like anything that has point systems and layers, like dungeon delving does, where like each layer is like a different sort of theme and has different strengths of monsters, and it's a little unexplained and stuff. Again, generic, but I fuck with it. To me, it's like there's just enough twist on this where like I enjoy it, and I think it's executed very well. It's sort of like to me like a very good like Italian sub or something. Like sure, it's
I
generic.
love Italian subs.
Yeah. They're generic.
I almost
right?
got one tonight. That's hilarious that you say that. I almost got that. I
Yeah.
got pizza instead.
You know, but it's good. It's a classic, and as long as it's done and executed correctly, I'm gonna enjoy it.
You go to Jersey Mike's and get like the rosemary shit on it. Oh, God.
Like to me, I like this a lot more than I like Mashal.
Sure, 100% same.
Yeah, because like I don't know, like Lemon compared to that's her name in Mashal, right?
Sure, let's go with it.
Okay.
That'd be funny if
Girl
it
Mash-
was.
I think it is. Girl Mashal and like Colette are like a good
It is
like
lemon.
contrast here for me. Okay, so Lemon and Colette, like where you know Colette is they play similar roles. They're sort of like the Genki girl love interest for the main character, but like Colette is a human and has like a personality, and Lemon likes Mashal.
Lemon wants to get a
Yeah,
word that
she
I don't.
wants to get her shoe cream funky puffed
Yeah,
or whatever.
Shoe cream fucking love.
Yeah,
So sweet.
that's what she wants to happen to her. So I don't know. I liked it. What did you end up giving this?
Well, what was our
Yeah.
guess?
We had this at so you had this at an 8, I had this at an 8, and our ranges were 7 and 9.
I gave it a 7. I thought it was fun.
Okay.
I thought it was fun, a little generic, but I mean overall I like I when I say generic, I don't mean bad. Like things can be generic all the time. I drink generic whatever flavored water. Like
Yeah,
it's good. I don't know. Just bubbly's like $1 a can, and you get like generic shit for like 29 cents. It's like
oh, okay. Generic comma, flavored
Flavored water,
water. I thought
yes.
you were saying, like, generically flavored
Yeah,
water. Like,
the
you're like
sink water versus the tap
water
water, yeah.
water flavored water.
But it's fun. Like it I don't think it does anything that it's not trying to be. It's just like a fun fantasy action show, and that's what I got. So I'm gonna give it a 7.
Yeah, I give this an 8. I think the animation's good. I think it is fun. I like pretty much all of the characters, and I think that they have some good dynamic. I think that the world building is decent enough to want to keep me watching, and I think we're getting more of this.
We are. It was
Um,
confirmed for a second.
Great, and so it's definitely a show that I'm going to be looking forward to watching more of. This was one of the shows I look forward to watching the most this season because I thought it was just a good fun time.
Mhm. This was like a split studio work, and I don't know if it was just Actus or if it was more on the side of Bandai Namco, but Actus normally does like kind of average looking shows. I thought they really stepped up their game with this. I thought this was beautifully animated, and I think the soundtrack was great. One of the best soundtracks of the year.
Yes, very good soundtrack. I remember when they were, like, in the cavern or
Mhm.
whatever, I remember that standing out to me, and, like, soundtracks don't always stand out to
Yep.
me, I just sort of, like, take them in, so that was that was good.
Yes. All right. So 7 for me, 8 to Miles. Next up is Shoshimin, How to Become Ordinary. A show that we both thought they were going to be aliens. Turns out we were wrong, but I was glad I was wrong because to think that Yuki,
You could still be right.
we could still be it, but like the fact that this whole buildup of this entire season of Osanai being this mastermind, more than likely she runs the Yakuza, she probably deals drugs, she's probably killed somebody. There's pretty much anything on the table that's crime related that if you told me she did it, I would believe you. And the sweet little Osanai being who she is was just everything accumulated into one delicious parfait that they went. There's little mysteries that remind me of Hyoka that I really enjoyed. Miles is probably gonna shit on them, but
Yep.
like I liked it. I thought it was fun. I do think like the tone of those going and then versus episode 9 and 10 are very different, but I thought the show was super fucking enjoyable. Miles, I think you have more words than I do for Shoshiman, so take it away, sir.
I definitely have more words. I think that this is a very interesting show for me because there are parts of the show, like, I love, and there are parts of the show that bored me to fucking death. And then there were parts of the show that didn't even bore me to death that I was just kind of like annoyed at. I loved episodes 9 and 10, and I think they did a good job foreshadowing that. Episode 3, we talked about in our first impressions. You had not seen it yet. I talked about a moment with one of the characters that sort of leads to some sort of like depth there or whatever. And that was Osanai's moment where like the camera turns red and she's like talking about like whatever, and she seems like very nefarious, right? Like we knew if someone was going to be Osanai, it would be Osanai,
Yeah,
if that makes sense,
because
right?
we got like
Like,
hints of her like fighting people at her previous school too.
yes.
Yep.
And like she, went through this entire elaborate plan to like frame people for committing a crime, which is honestly kind of based.
Oh,
Um,
so based.
I know. But like in between these moments and this like plot of her sort of getting revenge on people, we deal with mini mysteries of varying quality, in my opinion. I know people liked the hot sauce one.
I did. I
Um,
did enjoy it.
I hated the hot sauce one because it was like super duper solvable. Like everyone ever could have solved it because you could have just asked how many pastries the guy cooked. Like he asked him every
That's
other
fair.
question under the sun. And so like that sort of annoyed me. Like you if you trust that our genius detective is asking the right question as an audience, you would not be able to solve that.
I could see that.
Um, and that was sort of like my problem with a little bit. I'm a firm believer that if you're setting up a mystery like this, not necessarily like a mystery like the dead demons, whatever, but like a who done it sort of mystery. Like what happened in this scenario? Let's go through this logically. It should be solvable by the audience with the information presented to you. And that information shouldn't be obfuscated by the detective, or in this case, like Jogoro, not asking the correct questions that he sensibly would have asked
Sure.
given, that sort of scenario. Some of them I thought were fun, like when he ate too many of the sweets and he was like trying to set up a scenario where like it didn't like look like it or whatever.
Yeah, it reminds me of like when I stole my parents' alcohol when I was in like high school, and then be like, "Where's the alcohol go?" I'm like, "I didn't take it. Like I was doing this over here. Why? It couldn't have been me."
Yeah, it's like you fill it with like the vodka with like
Yeah,
water or
yeah,
whatever.
exactly.
Yeah, I didn't drink in high school, so I don't know. But
Oh.
yeah, I was.
I'm drinking right now.
I'm
I
drinking
drank in
water.
high school. If you couldn't
This
tell.
is I have some delicious generic flavored water.
Oh,
Right
this is a gin and tonic.
generic and tonic. I love gin and
I
tonics.
love gin and tonics. They're
Um,
so good.
yeah. So the sort of middle mysteries were hit or miss for me. One that like disappointed me was like when they set up the test one where the guy cheated with like the like we never got any more information about that, even though someone did some like absolutely insane shit to cheat on a test. Like they set up like an ice and like calculated when it would melt so that they would know when everyone
Yeah,
would
that was
look
cool.
back at the thing crashing. Yeah, but like nothing came of that.
Oh, true. Yeah.
Yeah, and like I don't know. I don't know who
You
did that
wanted the resolution from it.
that's an insane thing to do.
It's nuts.
Like, because like even this even brought up like why would someone do this? This is stupid. You could just make a cheat card or whatever,
Anime.
as opposed, yeah, well, yeah, but like I don't know if the show brings up this is silly. Why would someone do this? What is the thought process here? I guess I expected it to be expounded upon. That being said, there's a lot of other things about the show that are super enjoyable. Some of these mini mysteries are great. The overarching sort of saga I thought was good. I really liked the conclusion of it. I think the technical aspects of the show are great, like the direction, the animation, the soundtrack, all of that I think go really good. If you're a fan of like Monogatari direction, you'll probably enjoy this. A lot of similarities there. Pete, do you have other words to say?
Well, I'm
Or
just like I'm such a Hyoka fan. I
yeah,
love like the silly little mysteries. I don't dig as deep as you do. I'm fine with like of the conclusion of the mystery if they tell me how they solved it when I didn't have that information presented for me to me. I'm fine with that. Like it's all in like all in good fun. I'm not actively trying to solve the mystery. Where I think
I am.
you are. Yeah, I think that's the difference between us two. But Osai is like my favorite girl of the season. I thought she was absolutely incredible. I loved how the mysteriousness, but also like the fun side of her with like her sweets and stuff was like a nice contrast to her being Jigsaw. Big fan of that. This show was I had a good time. I didn't like it as much as Hyoka, but I did thoroughly enjoy it. The OP was one of my favorites of the season, and I'm looking forward to season 2 when it drops. So, what was our predictions of the score or of the
Yeah.
yeah?
So you had this for between a 7 and an 8, and I had this. I gave it quite the range from a 6 to a 9,
Damn.
depending on how all of this sort of ended out. But I had only watched 3 episodes, and you only watched 2 episodes
Yep.
at the time. Where did you end up on
Yeah, I
this?
would put this at like a high 7, low 8. I ended up going with an 8 just because of the last 2 episodes were I thought 2 of the best episodes I've seen this year. I loved how this all concluded.
Yeah, so I had this at a 7, and the last 2 episodes had me bump it up to an 8 as
Woo!
well. Upon reflection, maybe I'll lower it back down to a 7, but I will say I found the payoff of episodes 9 and 10 good enough to come out with a very positive view of the show and having enjoyed my time with it.
Hell yeah.
And even if there are some lulls for me, I think that if at the end of these like arcs, these seasons, I say this was worth my time, then it's fine. Like I don't care if something wastes my time occasionally as long as it doesn't waste my time the
Gotcha.
entire and
Like
like the
recording this
payoff is
podcast.
like like recording this podcast. I never have a dull moment with you, Pete.
Aw, stop. Okay, well, so let's 2 8s from us from Shoshimin. Moving on to our only short that we are reviewing. The magical girl and the evil lieutenant, aka Miles, used to be arch enemies. A show I think that we were both looking forward to quite a bit. Bones, I think I mentioned this on the first impressions episode. Bones 60% from the free throw line. It's either going to be fantastically animated or it's going to be mid as fuck. I thought this was really well animated. I really enjoyed the color palettes that they used in this, the light blues, the pinks, with the magical girl, and then Shun, the contrasting with being the evil lieutenant and like black. I really enjoyed that contrast between the two. I thought their interactions were super cute and adorable. I also, one thing that I really liked was that there's an emotional side to this where the mangaka passed away after writing this. And when you are tasked with that of creating anime, you want to honor the mangaka. I felt like there was so much heart and so much love in the show at the end where they did the the end thing where it said end less.
Yeah.
Like I thought that was like such a nice touching piece to honor the mangaka, and shit like that is like that means something to me. Like I love it when somebody's work is that passionate and they want to try so hard to honor somebody that I just it encapsulated me more into the story than I think it normally would have. Like I think realistically, if this manga was still living, I don't think I would have given it the score that I will be giving it. But just knowing that it's great. I thought the cast was great. Shout out to Hibana. Speaking of contrast, just when you have the stoic cute girl with Baya Kuya, I don't know how to say her name. I'm supposed to call her the magical girl. And then a girl who just only says the word fuck. And you think that might get repetitive and boring. It didn't. Never
did
for a fucking second.
Not a second.
Yeah. Just great. I love the knockoff QB clones where they're just like drunk idiots and they're not really using the magical girls for like stealing their power. It's more just like they're just extorting them for rent. Like stuff like that is just it's so fun. Like the only thing I wish is like I think some of the side casts with Shun's like evil lieutenant side thing could have got fleshed out a little bit more, but it's a short. You can only do so much. You probably get a little bit more with the manga, but like it's not like a knock, but I did think the side cast was pretty funny. That blonde haired dude.
Wormhole.
Yeah. I like he was great. I would have loved to see more of him. Bellatrix, who had a mind of her own whenever she was like coming up with scenarios in her head. I thought like that was great. If we had more of that, if we had like an OVA or something like that with those sidecasts, I think it would be super fun. But
like actually see the Christmas party.
Yeah, like stuff like that would have been awesome to see, but like I'm not gonna like it's not gonna like lose points or whatever. Miles, your thoughts on the magical girl and the evil lieutenant?
Yeah, enjoyed the show. It was a good short. I think her transformation sequence is beautiful. I sort of like the pretending to be enemies secretly into each other bit. To me, Hibana really breathed new light into this show. Like I think that my enjoyment of it rose a good amount when she came around because she was just a good contrast to Byakuya, as you had mentioned. Like I just want to repeat, the fuck jokes don't stop being funny. It is funny every time.
Every time.
The animation with it is great. She turns into like a little chibi shark thing, like and bites things. It's amazing.
With brass knuckles.
Yeah. It would have been nice to, I guess, get the, and I imagine there's a world where that would have happened had the mangaka not passed away, where the side characters, the other evil lieutenants get fleshed out more.
Mm-hmm.
Sadly, that's not where we are. But I did enjoy my time with them. I thought they were all fun characters. I think that's the main thing, is that every character in this is like fun and in some way. I also think that it has like touching moments. I remember there's like a moment where Byakuya is like, I don't want to be the magical girl tonight. I just want to like be me, and can you like hold me or whatever? And it's just very sweet and touching. And I think all of us have been in a position where we're just sort of overwhelmed and like need someone to look after us for a bit.
Mm-hmm.
And at least me, anytime anyone puts any responsibility in my hands, I immediately break down. Much like Byakuya. If I had like one minor gripe about the show, it was like a little too horny for me. Like it's interesting. I think that her angel is like slightly less horny in the manga. So who knows?
Yeah.
But overall, I enjoyed it a lot, and I thought it was very pretty, and I had a great time. I give this an 8 Where did you end up on this?
I give it a 9. I
Ooh,
think if without like the knowing the background and stuff like that, I think it's a solid 8. But I love the moment. I love the endless moment. That was so touching. It's such a nice cherry on top to honor this person, and
yeah.
yeah, that literally bumped it up a point for me.
Yeah, and I completely get that. That really was a touching moment, knowing the backstory behind all of this. And I think that this team did a great job honoring the mangaka's memory with this work. I think you can tell a lot of care and passion went into making this as good as it could be.
Yep. And I just want to say, it actually grew on me more. This was my favorite OP of the season. I loved
Yeah, I really like the OP.
loved the OP. Do you have like our what we had going into it, our score?
You know what? I missed this one. I
All right.
think we were around here though. I think we were. Well, you definitely bumped it up. I think you might have. I think we most might have been like 7-8,
Yeah.
but I did not get this one for whatever reason.
Cool.
My
Sounds
bad.
good. All right. Before we get to our last show that we're going to talk about, we're going to go over everything else that we watched, which I think is just me because I think this is all Miles watch, if I'm not mistaken.
Whoa, 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 whoa! I
Well,
am current on the Rick and Morty.
oh, tell us your thoughts on the Rick and Morty anime.
If you like Rick and Morty, you'll probably like the Rick and Morty anime. I am not current on Rick and Morty, so I'm missing some references. I think. I kind of think I'm not sure if this is true or not, but I think you might have to be caught up on Rick and Morty to completely understand what's going on, because there's like 2 or 7 of every character, and like I know there are multiverse stuff, but like I didn't get to that point in Rick and Morty
Well, you
where
got
we
the
were all just
Pickle
all
Rick, right?
hanging out. They haven't done that yet.
Ah.
Um, but that was the funniest fucking shit I've ever seen.
Nothing is funnier than Pickle Rick. Nothing. Is that it?
Yeah.
All right, cool. I'm gonna go over the shows that I dropped. Atri, the robot show. I thought it was boring, like straight up. Sakuna, the rice show. I think it's like a mobile game. It was cute looking and stuff like that, but I couldn't really like get
There's a
into it.
rice. There's a rice.
She's
show?
like the goddess of rice or something. I don't know. I didn't. There's a reason why I dropped it. I didn't really fucking pay attention to it.
Okay.
I think it has something to do with rice. Shows I finished. Days with My Stepsister. I think this could have gone a multiple routes. Kind of ended up being like a nice melodramatic story about 2 people just like kind of figuring themselves out that just happened to be stepbrother and stepsister. It was nice. It was slow at some points. I didn't really like any of the characters. Some people really like the female lead. I thought she was just like fine. Like it was whatever. I gave it a 7. My Wife Has No Emotion. A show of 2. There's 2 parts of this. The first part I almost dropped.
Can I guess them? Can I guess the parts?
Take it away.
Okay. There are the parts that don't involve that little robot chicken, and then there are the parts that do involve the little robot chicken, and those are the good parts.
Those are the best parts, but that's not what
Okay.
changed. So the beginning
Okay.
was sort of like, like the hikikomori lifestyle that people have in Japan, where like they don't go outside and they don't find like romantic partners. And this was kind of a mix of that, but it was more of like, I just think like it was like a guy having issues with forming relationships with like women. But we didn't really see that, and that's what I think was missing from the first part.
Okay.
But then the second part, we sort of got like a better understanding of who he was as a person, where like I didn't think he was like an incel. I didn't think he was like a hikikomori. I just think like he was just a dude who just had problems.
Just an awkward dude.
Yeah, he was an awkward dude. This was a way to like, like, would you rather, I guess it's like, it raises the question, like, would you rather like fall in love with a robot or never fall in love at all? So would I rather fall in love with a human? Yes, but I would also rather fall in love with a robot than no one at all. So I think that was kind of like a message to send that like he had like a connection to this. I don't know if it's like romantic love, but like he loved the robot. And then Mamoru, the fucking the kid robot that they have, is just the goat. He was so much fun. I think he had like a whole nother level where like Nina, the robot wife, sort of like transitioned to like a mom role, because robots have like intelligent levels in their society where like if you're like a level 2 robot, you can't go and see movies. I don't know why, but like that's like the thing. But if you're like a level 1 robot, you can go see movies. So there's some like hierarchy with like the robots. I don't know if it's like an AI thing where like you don't want the robots to get too smart type of thing, but that was interesting. And when they became like a core group, a core family, I really enjoyed the show. I gave it an 8. I think like the first half is like a 5, and then the second half is like a 9. I really enjoyed. My wife has no, but like if you dropped it after 3 episodes, 100% get it. I legit think it's pretty bad, but the second
There's
half
like a
was
100% chance I would have dropped this after
100%. I almost
right?
did too.
Okay.
I think it was. I think it aired on like Sunday nights, and that was like the only show that aired on Sunday nights or something like that, or Sunday morning. And I just
Okay,
watched
so
that night.
yeah, so if maybe if it was a busier day, you wouldn't have
Yeah,
gotten through it.
yeah.
Okay.
I got the benefit of the doubt of
But
like that.
you liked it though, so it's good you
I,
did.
I did. I'm really glad I stuck with it. Nare Nare, the cheerleading show.
Oh, yeah.
I watched it because there was, I mean, whatever. Cute girls doing cute things. I was hoping that there was a character in a wheelchair. I was hoping to see if they would like involve that into the show, but she was in a wheelchair because she had surgery. She wasn't actually like paralyzed. Hilarious that one of the characters, I think her name is, it's the blonde hair girl, that she's like half Brazilian, half Japanese. What's so funny?
I'm just so I get it, but I'm just in my head like what you just said was like I was kind of bummed that the girl was just hurt and not paralyzed.
Well, I wanted to show like
I know you
yeah.
wanted like the themes and stuff from it, but like I don't know. In
You know,
my
like,
head, I
yeah.
just like imagined you being like, I was sad she wasn't paralyzed.
Yeah, because I thought it was like it would bring like all walks of life. Like, you know, like just because you're paralyzed doesn't mean you can't be a cheerleader. That would be really cool to showcase. So it's like she had heart surgery and she can't walk. It's
Oh,
like,
that's based. I always like the heart condition.
oh, you'll love her.
Okay.
But there's a character named Anna who's like this blonde hair girl. She's half Brazilian, half Japanese. And there's like an arc where like after her father died, she found music as like her savior. And she went to like this music store and she became friends with the owner and stuff like that. And music really helped her. And then one of the arcs is that the music store is shutting down and she's like really sad. So then she like calls her friends to like save the store, and her best friends in the world are essentially like Dua Lipa and the lead singer of Metallica. And it's just like, and then they save the store. And it's like, why is Dua Lipa your best friend? Like, it's so fucking random. Why is Lars Ulrich from Metallica your best friend? That was wild, but like, all in all, the show sucked. It was really bad.
Okay.
I wanted to I was like it out of spite to hate on Preston, because I did think the beginning was kind of fun and I did like Anna a lot, but the show is really bad. Like the last arc is over like this social media beef where like one of the rival cheerleaders tweets something and then deletes it, and then they have like a 2-episode beef thing and they have to like solve that out. I'm like, this is so fucking dumb. Like, this is so stupid. So yeah, I gave it a 4.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it was bad. Speaking of another show that I gave a 4, the second season of Tower of God. Wow, did they fucking ruin Tower of God? So like I read this arc, so like I have an idea of what's going on. When you try to compact like 100+ chapters into 12 episodes, it doesn't work.
Is that what happened? Okay.
And it's just like it was just so over the place. The animation was terrible. I've stressed this so much in our Discord. Reusing the OST from season 1 when you have like a 4-year gap in between season 1 and season 2, to me, is unacceptable. I think it's trash. I think it's really bad, especially when Kevin Pankin did season 1 and the OST is great, and then you just reuse the OST. It's like, what are we doing? What are we doing? It's like, what if Attack on Titan had the same OST season 1 to season 2? It's just like, you just be like, oh, this is the. It might have, but it's like, I don't think it did. But it's like, it's reusable. It's lazy. Probably a budget thing, but like when you're the biggest manhwa, I think, ever, you should probably put some money into it. So I was very disappointed. I gave this a 4. I thought it was bad. But the last show I want to talk about is a show that we have waited 12 years for. We finally got it. It's one of my favorite shoujos of all time. It's one of my favorite romances of all time, and that's Kimi ni Todoke season 3. And it was everything I wanted and more. I thought this was a beautiful adaptation. The entire Okinawa arc was one of my favorites because I got to shit on Kazuhaya because he's such a green flag. But in this arc, he's a fucking piece of shit. And he was a piece of shit, but then he makes up for it, so it's fine. But like, this is, we get to see more drama with like Chizuru and Ryu and like their relationship together. Sawako kind of, I would say, try like more standing up for herself, where a lot of times she has other people speak for her, and this is like I think like a nice shining moment for her. And waited 12 years and it was perfect. I hope we don't have to wait another 12 years for season 4. I hope we get a season 4. I think it's really weird that if we got a season 3 and nothing else, doesn't make any sense to me. So I would think we'd get a season 4, but I've been wrong before. So this was a 9. This is probably the best romance of the year. It was everything I wanted. I love Kimi to okay. So, and then we mentioned before Oshinoko, 1 episode left to go. It's a 10. One of the best shows of the year. So, Miles, I hyped the fuck out of this show. A lot of people hyped the fuck out of the show. We saw the OP. It's like, yep, this is fucking it. We saw the PV. We said, yep, this is fucking it. We saw some of the grenades that they use, the bananas, the different interactions that they have. It's like, yes, this is Nishijo 2.0. And then we got the show. We got my dear friend Nokotan. And what it ended up being was not that. It was a big pile of deer crackers. Going into this, I really liked episode 1. I really liked episode 2. And that's where it lost me. And I didn't like the show. There was one episode in between where they were like fighting behind the gymnasium. That episode was fucking hilarious. But when you have a 12 episode show and I laugh at 4 episodes, 5 episodes, not good. This was such a letdown. I had so much expectations for the show and I got into my own head. I'm gonna be honest with Miles. I'm gonna hold this L. I was wrong. I was wrong about Nokotan. And I'm gonna give you the moment. I'm gonna give you the shine to say I told you so. So take it away, sir.
Yeah. So in our first impression show, we were talking about, and I gotta say, I was wrong about Nokothon too. Because I said the problem with the show is that it's kind of ass and it's not funny. And like that was right. But I sort of assumed the quality of episode 1 and 2 would continue.
Mhm.
And it didn't.
It did not.
It didn't. It got worse. I don't even know if it got worse. Actually, it might have even like stayed the same, but like if you do the same thing over and over again, I'm looking at some Mal reviews right now, and one of them says random is not funny. Like randomness is not equal to funny, and like
Yep.
that's the big thing to me that the show is so random. The stuff that happens is so out of left field that it doesn't build on anything, and there's no like a lot of comedy is subverting expectations where you think so, oh, but the other thing happened and it's funny, or sometimes you can see things coming. If you're as random as this show, you can't do either of those things. Like you can't expect something. It can't not meet your expectations. It can't meet your expectations to be funny. That doesn't make sense. There are a few times that I tried to have faith in this show, and every time it betrayed me. Um, and like the last time was the last episode. So like honestly, joke's on me. Because I knew this was fucking awful by then. Like after the deer show episode where we don't go to the deer show, I was so mad. I was like, why would this show? There's an episode. Nokotan's like, oh, dog, we're going to the deer show. I'm going to be your deer, and it's like a dog show, but for deer, and we're gonna go. It's gonna be great. And then they get ready for the deer show, and hijinks happen while they're getting ready for the deer show, and then the deer show doesn't happen on screen because heaven forbid they leave their fucking club room. Um, eh, and then the end of episode 11 happens, and our main girl is coming up, and she's like, "Oh, where's Nokotan?" And everyone in the club's like, "Who's Nokotan?" And I was like, "Fuck yeah, this is gonna be great. This is gonna be so good. I'm so excited for this episode for once in my fucking life. I'm excited to see how what they do here. Is this all Nokotan like playing some trick to get her to like admit she misses her? Was she just insane this whole time? What's going to happen?" Last episode happens. Nokotan just shows up and is like, "It's the last episode." And then the main character's like, "What about this thing we set up?" And she's like, "It doesn't matter because it's the last episode. So we're just going to ignore
Subverting
that."
expectations. That's
And
comedy,
it's yeah,
baby.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. It's it is like, "Oh, okay, cool, cool." Like jokes are like set up punchline, right? There's no setup in this. There's just a whole bunch of punchlines in a row, but they're not funny because there's no setup. That's my take on this. The show was bad.
Show was
Um,
bad. I think Miles got the negativity out. I do want to stress on some things that I did enjoy. So, one, I really enjoyed Noko's voice actress. I thought she did
yeah,
the best that
all
she
the
could.
voice actors I think did great.
Yeah, agreed. Specifically, I really enjoyed Noko's voice actress the most. Outside of the main two, I thought the cast was like really bad. The Rice Girl, I didn't think was funny at all. She didn't serve a purpose. The
No.
last scene that we see of her is like going out and like farming rice, where like there's like a conflict happening. I think it's episode 12, where it's like none of this matters. She's like, I'm gonna go farm some rice, and then she goes and farms some rice, and then that's and then she's in like the corner when she's wrestling or whatever. But it's like she didn't do anything. The sister trope, never funny, and it wasn't funny in this character. She literally did nothing other than play the sister trope. But I did enjoy a lot of the voice actresses. So shout out to them for being wit. There were some moments where the animation was really good, but I'd say for the most part, this was pretty underwhelming from wit. I know I said that this is going to be the positive part, but there was some
Yeah,
good
man.
positive parts. But I just want to say the delinquent fight behind the school, I genuinely thought that was fucking hilarious. I know it's not gonna be for everybody. I thought it was super funny. That's when she actually used the antler as a grenade and blew up the gym. I thought that was super funny. That was the funniest part of the whole series. Outside of that, I think that's it. I think that's all and I like the OP. The OP is fun and silly and quirky and goofy.
Yeah.
It matches the tone of the show perfectly. But I think this is more of like coming into it having so much expectations of what we saw and what was in the PV, where it's like, okay, this could be something great. I'm not saying it can be Nishijo 2.0, but it can be Nishijo Light. It can be the Bud Light of Nishijos. And it ended up just being, I don't even know what a thing I can compare it to. It just was not funny. Like, it was not funny at all. Like, if you like gag humor, I think something like Psyche K, it just handles it so much better. Something like Nishijo handles it so much better. Something like Asobi Asobase handles it so much better. When you have really good gag humor out there, even like, I know we don't like it, but like Gintama is such like a staple for this stuff. When we have that out in our sphere and you see this, it's just like, what the fuck is this? Like,
Yeah,
what am
so
I watching?
we both had relatively negative takes on two popular shows this season,
Yep.
right? So my thing is like I did not like losing Heroines. Do I understand why people like it? Yes, I think the cast is can be fun and unique. Like maybe they did things that annoyed me, but whatever. Like I get why people would like that. I think there's like, some little, like emotional gut punches don't hit me as hard. So like that's probably part of the reason I didn't like that. But they do have those moments for people who like those sort of things. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Alya didn't have things you like, but I sort of like tropey playing this and stuff. So like there's nothing. There's no one. The show is for no one. There isn't a person out there who wants to like the show. Our entire Discord, people were like, it was just straight. Like it's not even cope. It's like a step after cope. It's like
Mhm.
despair, but remembering the cope.
I think
is like,
everybody wanted, like, nobody was just like, nobody out of spite was like, I'm not gonna like Nokotan because it's everybody else likes it. I think everybody was like super high on Nokotan. Everyone's like, this looks fun and quirky. Let's have some fun. And everyone's just like, yo, dog, this kind of ass.
yeah. So like in our preview, not in our first impressions, I talk about how like if you'll see the clips that are good on Twitter, and if you like those, like check out the show.
Yep.
But like maybe you can just get it through the clips on Twitter. I mean, I'm not on Twitter, so fuck if I know. But like to me, none of these are. There's nothing. What would you post on Twitter to be like this is funny? Like I don't know. Did it have any scenes that went viral from like a clip or anything?
No, I would say the most things that went viral were like covers of the OP.
OP slaps.
OP's good.
100%. I liked that one scene where she's like going through the jungle Like it's
Oh
like
yeah, that was
Rambo
funny.
2 or whatever. Like there are funny moments in this, and they're not worth swimming through the pile of garbage.
Yeah,
that
watch
is
like a compilation on YouTube.
Yeah, like genuinely, you'll get it. Like, and honestly, that compilation will probably suck, but you'll only waste 10 minutes of your life.
Correct.
So it's I probably would have dropped this 3 or 4 episodes in, but like I wanted to make sure that I could complete this so that I could talk shit about it.
Hell yeah.
Because I jumped off board a lot faster than everyone else did. And sometimes I do that and it's wrong.
Yep.
I was right this time.
Yep.
That's-
What was our prediction scores?
Yeah, so I had this as a 6. You had this as a 7.
Okay.
Yeah, I gave this a 4.
I also gave this a 4.
Okay.
Because
Okay.
I do, even in like the really bad episodes, I did laugh. There's specifically 2 episodes, 9 and 10. I didn't laugh once, but I do recall laughing at least once in every episode. And I do think that the show has exactly 3 good episodes. So I give it a 4.
This show made me mad in the same way that like Too Many Losing Heroines made me mad, with like, except for instead of like character actions that are like in theory justifiable and I just disagreed with and I didn't like that direction, it's like bad writing that made me mad, and then had none of the you know what, I'm gonna give this a fucking 3.
Oh, run it.
I'm just thinking,
Give it a 2
like,
while you're at it.
Yeah, I mean, no, I'm not gonna do that.
Okay.
There's a certain movie that's much beloved that I recently gave it to, and this is better than that.
I saw
I'll
that.
take it.
I saw that. That was about, when I see you, I'm gonna have to fight you, but
That's fair. I think I'm just objectively correct about that, but we can talk about that at a different date.
yeah, I think you're objectively incorrect, but
Okay.
all right,
Anyways,
we're on something right now. You know, fuck you, Nah.
What a movie.
Okay. Yeah, I gave that movie a 10, by the way.
I genuinely
I cried my eyes out at the movie theater.
I was glad when he died.
Wow.
Because he's the fucking predator. He was dating a middle school girl. He gets married to a high school girl.
Yeah, but they
He
loved
was
each other.
her. Okay.
Okay, if you can't figure out the movie, join our Discord. You can talk to Miles about it. I think that wraps up everything, Miles. Do you have any parting words to your adoring fan?
Yeah. Hey, Mom.
Shout out to Miles' mom. Otherwise, I think that's it for Miles. For me, if you want to support us, the best way to do so, like, comment, subscribe, leave a review on whatever platform you're watching or listening to us on. Next week for Watch Club, it's Girls Band Cry. We've been waiting for it. It's been, some people have said it's
good.
Some people have said it's the best anime of 2024. Veronica said it's her favorite anime ever. So we have, I've already reviewed it on the podcast. So if you want to know my thoughts, literally go back to the previous season. Otherwise, we'll do a more in-depth review with the whole gang of Watch Club. Otherwise, in 2 weeks, we're doing something. I haven't figured it out yet, but we will be producing content. Otherwise, after this comes out, actually, we'll have our look back review. So check out, if you've seen the movie Look Back, that will be out when this gets released. So me and Cosette, hopefully if she's not dying on her deathbed, we will be reviewing Look Back. Otherwise, I will be solo reviewing Look Back if she is not healthy yet. So that will be the
Get better,
worst.
Cosette.
Yeah, please feel better. I do not want to do an episode by myself. Otherwise, thank you so much if you made it this far, and we will see you next time. Peace.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye.